Welcome to the In My Opinion show. I'm your host, Ronald Barry Robinson. With us, we have Mr. Harold McIntyre. Next, we have Miss Tracy Blackwell.
Hello, Ron.
And then we have my good friend, Mr. Henry Hatter.
Good evening, Ron.
Welcome all to the In My Opinion show. Let's talk about another first. Michael Steele, the former Lieutenant Governor of Maryland, who is an African American, was chosen, elected as the new Republican Party leader. Steele takes the helm of a beleaguered Republican Party that is trying to recover after crushing defeats in the November's national elections that gave Democrats control of Congress and the White House. Henry, why do you think Michael Steele was chosen? A virtual unknown to most Americans, and do you think he will be effective in turning the GOP around, the grand old party? Let me add this, Henry. I think you're more famous and nationally known than Mr. Steele.
Well, I think that's a mean question. Mr. Steele is very well known. He was the Lieutenant Governor of Maryland, and he's very articulate. He spoke before the National Republican Convention, and he's the one who coined the phrase, drill, baby, drill. Do you remember that?
Okay.
Okay, this is regarding getting individuals to, in our country, to become excited about the discovery of petroleum fuels in this country. And Michael Steele is, like Barack Obama, talent is not limited to Democrats. It's not limited to other people. It's very diverse among Black Americans. Many people may not believe that, but they are out there. They've always been there. And when Barack Obama was elected president, he had a corresponding counterpart, and that was Michael Steele on the other side. Michael is very well known. He's very well respected, and we should be gratified and grateful that he was elected on the Republican Party, because in order to achieve goals that African Americans, all Americans who have established for themselves, you're going to need both sides of the aisle to accomplish those goals. You cannot do it by yourself. We have tried that for many, many years. Just one party, but it doesn't work that way. We've got to have choices, and we've got to make people accountable when they are elected to public office who do not achieve goals, and and look at the promise that they make to African Americans as being non-committal. We have to make them count. We've got to make people credible and reliable when they promise to American people that they would make things better. Now we got Michael Steele on the other side, fighting from that side, as we have Barack Obama on the Democrat side. That bodes well. And who knows, if Barack Obama does a good job, the next president might be a Republican, Michael Steele. Who knows?
Or maybe Henry Hatter. Tracy, what is your thoughts?
I felt the same way I did when I met Clarence Thomas for the first time on television. Who is this man? It seems like he's just as well respected in the Republican Party as Barack Obama was. I understand that he came basically onto the national stage about the same time. He gave a speech at the Republican National Convention, and he's done a lot of work inside the Republican Party and was with Bush on many of his overseas junkets, I guess. So I don't know much about what he can do as far as it relates to going across the aisle and how much he's worked with Democrats and how much he's willing to work with Democrats. I just have some concerns about his representation within the party. And I don't see it. I don't see it extensively. So I have some concerns when out of the blue you get a placement like that, and it's not, something you would have expected. So I wonder if it's in a way window dressing. The Republicans parties has been talking about how are they going to redefine themselves, how they're going to redefine themselves, and to have a lot of more noticeable names that you would assume would have taken the place, and to have this person come out of nowhere, you wonder why. And I think I see an obvious reason why.
Harold, what is your thoughts?
Well, certainly, Ron, I can agree with Tracy. The Republican Party certainly has to redirect its choices in terms of representation overall, because again, they're going to have to look at and be responsive to all of the people, not just some of the people. And I can, with in my humble opinion, I can almost bet you if Barack Obama had not made or won the Democratic nomination, then they certainly wouldn't have chosen him to be the national president for the Republican Party. It would have been somebody else. I believe that's my humble opinion, but certainly I think that the Republican Party definitely needs or are looking to make a different impact on minorities and other nationalities in this country, to look at a different direction that they need to go.
Jump right in.
Yeah,
Henry.
yeah. These responses are not new to me. They were predictable.
But this is not beat up. This is not beat up Henry. Day.
Where the election was predictable.
No, these was not predictable. People who always vote the same always have these views. Yet we have a black president in this country, and we have not changed at all. Conditions around us have changed. We have now Michael Steele as the leader president. People say, "Oh, I don't believe that. There's something wrong with it. I got to listen to a knock in the engine because there's something not right about this." But the skepticism and the cynicism will not let African Americans or Black Americans grow. We gotta believe in something. We gotta want to believe in something. And it's not always been the Republican Party who's been at fault. The Republican Party is as open as the Democrat Party. It won't come recruit you. You have to go there.
Right.
And your philosophy, the philosophy of Black Americans, is stay away from the Republican Party. They're untouchable.
Not
Yet the
necessarily,
press-
Henry.
Yet the press espounds the same point of view. Because at the National Convention they said, oh, Republican Party only has 36 blacks. But it has 36 good blacks, intelligent blacks, well-positioned blacks, who have as greater views about what they expect the country ought to do for its segment of the population as Democrats do. And yet they refuse to work together because we're held together apart by views that should have been disbanded many, many years ago. You've had Colin Powell, you had Condoleezza Rice, you've had Page. Look at all of the people that Bush had in his administration. Yet we recognize none of them. Why? They're black. And
Not necessarily. That's
you
not
had
because they're
Myra
black.
Kirkwood. Yeah,
You know,
all that-
America is still a racist country.
It will always be racist, maybe.
Okay.
But that won't stop us from growing as a culture.
And the skepticism is not just with black folks; it's with white folks too.
No. White people have the prerogative of voting the way they want to. 25% of them voted for Barack Obama. But blacks don't have that prerogative. They are contained within a culture that lets no light in and none out. We have to grow. We're in a big world today. And we're going to take leadership in running this great country. And we have to have broader views than what we've had in the past.
Right. I believe black people can side on some issues with the Republican Party. Certainly, I saw some issues with some of the presidential candidates that I agreed with if I decided I might change my party. But the thought is the cynicism is still there about how this looks like a equal matchup with Barack Obama. They're about the same age.
What's
They
wrong
have
with
the
that?
same eloquence. Who was the previous Republican National Convention leader?
Someone from Alabama, I don't remember.
Right, he was an older gentleman. I do
Yeah.
recall that.
Haley Barber. I think it was Haley Barber.
And
Yeah.
thank you. And so now you have this. All of a sudden, we're looking at young leadership for the Republican National Committee.
What's wrong with that?
We haven't seen it in ever.
It's
We've never seen it
it
before.
worked in the past.
Well, I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that they're changing directions now that they didn't want to
They're
change
trying to
before.
match up
Yeah.
with
They've been
Yeah.
forced to change.
They-
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it
is
looks
people.
awkward. And it
Yeah.
looks awkward because it's a forced
But
choice.
if it looks awful, it's probably the right thing to do because it's generated by the American people. Now, it's not Barack Obama.
No, it's
It's the right thing to do because they
by
have a
10
choice.
individuals in that meeting.
Barack Obama's election was not primarily by black people. It was by American people.
Right, right.
Plurality. So you can't use race here to kind of define why the Republicans elected a black man.
In America, we always have to define race. 'Cause
Right.
That's just the way it is.
It's unfortunate we do have to define. We have to put race in it. Now, using the race card, and naturally you don't have to do that, but certainly we have to define issues by race. Or we should define them anyway.
When you
Because
look
it's
at the-
there.
When you looked at the Republican National Convention and those cameras just panned the crowd, I just thought to myself, do they see what I see?
I didn't miss anybody.
Okay.
Those are the right people that should have been there.
And I only seen one person really of color. That was you, Henry.
Oh, you saw a lot of people of color. But you have to work for that.
But so that's only my concern. When you look at the other parties, you see the diversity in people. So you imagine there's a diversity in opinions. When you look at that party, you see very little diversity.
But you're invited. You have to go to the party. You have an obligation to do this too.
But if you're
I'm
being,
not sure. The
So you're
Democrats
saying,
don't let
Henry, you're
everybody
saying
in.
people just haven't shown up.
Yeah, that's
Should
it.
they show up?
if you're
They
being
find
excluded on
something
the
they're
local
interested
level,
in.
how in the hell are you?
How are you
How in the
being-
hell do you feel acceptable on a national level?
Well, how do you get excluded on the local level?
I'm not Republican.
Well, you can't. I'll invite you. To
Right,
the
he's saying you
Republican-
can join if you
Yeah.
like.
Any one of you. Please
I
come.
understand.
Yeah.
No, I understand
But
what
if
you're
you
saying.
don't come, it's not the Republican Party's fault necessarily. It's because you haven't made a commitment. And you don't have to vote for every Republican either.
Right.
So, and just like you say, you may consider voting for one Republican once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody would ask you to change your party. We'd ask you for choices.
So most people don't come because they feel that they're not welcome, or that they feel that the Republican Party doesn't address the issues that they're concerned about.
I don't know why they don't come, but they're told that if they do, they're taboo. You can't go back home again. You can't go back to Republicans, like the Democrats. I've heard everything. I know what's out there.
You know, I don't go because I feel the Republican committee and party does not connect with me.
Well,
That's why I don't.
okay. Cite me an example of why.
Well, the last
Specific.
8 years with
The
Bush in
specific.
office.
No, it's specific.
I mean-
All politics are local. Now, cite that one. Cite something local that doesn't resonate right with you, that you've investigated, you've tried to accomplish through the Republican Party, but have been unable to.
Well, let me just say this: when I've been asked or approached by getting into the Republican Party, it's no disrespect to anybody in this table, but to me it's always about money. It's how much that I can afford to get into it, and how much I can afford to do things with it. Sometimes you don't have that money, and the Democratic Party don't ask you for that. You come be a part of it. It's a grassroots level. That's where I'm looking at. I see that. And I see that smile on your face over there. But that's where I look at it. You know, it's always about how many dollars you got, how much influence do you have, that type of thing when you talk about the Republican Party. But when you talk about the Democratic Party and getting involved, it's always the grassroots. How can you help? What can you do to help? What can you do to make this party better? Blah, 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 blah. That's what I look at.
One anecdotal response. The reason that Democrats don't ask you for the money is because most money is given by labor unions, and they control the party. They control everything that the Democratic Party represents.
Okay,
Not the
okay.
individuals, not the people like the
Right.
rank and file people like you, but it's controlled by people who give the money, provide the volunteerism to win positions, and select candidates who will ascribe to what unions
Well,
want.
that's what make grassroots people eager to go to galvanize to that party, because
But
they
you have
don't
no
feel that
voice.
they don't feel, well, they do have a voice because
How?
because those people, just like when we had the Barack Obama campaign here in Flint. The people that I saw knocking on doors and going out to those particular
everybody
points.
has
Well,
that.
no, let me finish though. That was going out there dealing with those companies. They felt they were a part of Barack Obama. They felt they were a part of this candidacy.
And Barack Obama's campaign generated more money than any in history from grassroots people in this
Yeah,
last
yeah,
election.
It did. You're
So your
Arguing
argument
with the
that the grassroots people don't influence things, I think is not correct.
see, there are policy decisions that get influenced. That then gets influenced in the inner circles. You're not in the inner circles. You don't influence.
Well,
them.
you're right. You're not. And then I don't think everybody expected to. I don't expect it to be up there in the White House, walking
No.
around the walls.
Don't get
the-
weak.
I
on
didn't,
me now. They
I didn't
don't.
expect that. I didn't expect that, but I did expect to have a good feeling about my party being the party in the White House. That's all I thought.
Okay, well, let's take this conversation to another level. David Duke,
Oh,
I guess it takes one to know one,
yeah.
calls new GOP leader a radical black racist. Okay, and he goes on to say, "To hell with the Republican Party." Okay, I'm glad these traitorous leaders of the Republican Party appointed this black racist affirmative action advocate to the head of the Republican Party, because this will lead to a huge revolt among the Republican base. As a former Republican official and a Grand Dragon of the KKK, I can tell you that millions of rank and file Republicans are mad as hell and aren't going to take it anymore. We will either take the Republican Party back over the next 4 years, or we will say, to hell with the Republican Party, and we will take 90% of the Republicans with us into a new party that will take its current place.
You believe that?
I'm not Republican.
Well, no. Do you believe it? Do you believe that?
No.
No. Nobody believes that stuff, except those people who want to believe it.
Right.
David Duke has no influence in the Republican
Well,
Party.
millions of people believe that
Well,
foolishness, just like that
you can
bullshit
write anything.
That Rush Limbaugh?
talks
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you guys beat up on Rush Limbaugh, but Rush Limbaugh is a teddy bear.
Right.
He's
he is?
not-
He's an
yeah,
idiot.
Right.
He's
Wow.
an entertainer. And that's what he does. He does it well. He's really good at what he does. And he gets naive people to bite at what he throws on the table.
But Henry, don't you think Rush Limbaugh being an entertainer, you can take those things too far?
No,
You don't think you
this
can
is
take it?
America. This
Yeah,
is
well,
a-
that's true. It's freedom of speech, but
You know what?
you can go too far with it.
Well, his job is to
Democracies-
be provocative. That's what he's doing.
Democracies are based on conflict, and that's.
I agree.
bad.
I understand that.
Okay, then don't.
And that's what we have here.
Yeah, it's based in conflict. So we need to recognize that.
Yeah, but it's
No.
Yeah, but you have to be politically correct sometimes, and you have to be morally correct.
No,
sometimes.
I think that's how
I
he's
think
got
morally
his listening
correct.
base is by
Well,
not being
you-
politically
right.
correct.
You're right.
Yeah, that's what people. We have given people what they wanted. They wanted to be morally correct instead of being called black. They want to be called African Americans or whatever. So it doesn't change anything. You have
I
to
thi-
change the heart.
Right.
and
I think
change
people
how we
were waiting
feel.
to see what his response was going to be anyway, and he just
What Obama's responsibility be?
Rush Limbaugh's.
Oh, okay.
You know,
About what?
about whether or not he supports his new president.
Well, he doesn't. I mean,
Oh, well,
because when he
no.
says, "I hope Obama fails,"
Fails.
that was enormous statement that he made.
Yeah, but
Well,
that,
no,
that
he
means
tried to be
nothing.
sarcastic
That-
with it,
yeah,
and basically
yeah,
he said,
yeah.
of course I didn't mean it that way because
No.
that's, of course I want him to succeed. I don't support his policies, but of course I wouldn't want my president to fail. So
Well, maybe that was.
Well, he wants
Yeah.
to clean it up, but that
Yeah.
wasn't the fact.
That was
he wants it to
sounded
fail,
like
yeah.
spin to
okay,
me.
that was an OxyContin day.
But I believe that like you, that Rush Limbaugh used that as an irony, ironical statement to be humorous and stuff like that. But I don't think that he meant for the president to fail, because if the president fails, the whole country fails. And that's anarchy.
Right,
And no,
exactly.
not even Republicans.
people
Well,
like
maybe it
Rush
was immediate.
Limbaugh
That's the way they
don't
put
care,
it.
Henry.
Huh?
In my opinion, people like Rush Limbaugh and David Duke, these people don't
Don't care.
care.
I think
Okay.
David Duke
You
doesn't
can't
care. I
put
think Rush
David Duke-
Limbaugh cares because he's got friends that are tied up business and economics and
He's
things
got
like
black
that.
friends
Yeah.
as well. That's-
Well,
yeah.
I disagree with both
Well,
of
at
you.
least
Both
one.
of you. I think that you're right. He doesn't care. And on the other hand, if Obama did fail, then it goes back to the status quo. His good old boys. That's the way I look at
Well,
it.
I
So
don't-
that's why I would agree with him. He
And
doesn't
what
care,
role
Ron.
has the young people and the black people and all of the Americans and the Republicans who voted for Barack Obama? What issues would they have accomplished by electing him?
What issues? Who would have accomplished?
What?
No, we're talking about Rush
reestablish
Limbaugh
pride
right
in
now.
our
hold it now. You said-
citizenship across the world.
What would he have accomplished?
Rush?
No,
But that's what we're
Obama.
talking about. We're
Yeah.
talking about Rush Limbaugh and whether he cares or not. And
Well-
we don't think I don't think he does care.
well, you say, I don't think that Rush wants the country to fail. No
What?
way.
I don't
No,
think.
I don't think he wants it.
Americans don't want the country.
I don't think he wants the country to
Because
fail,
he
but I
can't
think
do
he
it
doesn't
anywhere
care
else.
if
Not even
Obama
you.
fails, because then if Obama fails, then who's the vice president?
Yeah, but
Falls right into the status quo.
I don't
which he
think.
likes.
I don't think
Which I
Rush
think he-
Limbaugh would like Joe Biden either. I don't. He wouldn't like Joe Biden
well,
either.
I think that Rush is looking at. He hopes he fails in the liberal policies on health care, on Social Security, on his positions in Iraq and Iran and stuff like that. Though not the presidency itself, he doesn't want to see the country fall on his face. I think that we're reading too much into this argument.
Right. Well, I think this is too far deep to be wishing anybody to fail. I can see if we were half as better off as we are now than wishing somebody to fail, but we've got nowhere to go but up at this point. So wishing somebody fail in their policies at this point is going to be devastating for our country.
Nationalizing the
What-
banks, for example.
He's not trying to nationalize the bank.
The
He's
automobile industry. This is the
He
perception.
needs
These
to
are
because
failed
they-
companies
because
that
they
need to
can't control
close, Henry.
their business.
They need to close down. They have horrible business models,
Yeah.
and they're asking for citizens to our hard-earned money. We're trying to make it and survive, and they just walk up to the bank window and take whatever they like.
Well, I'm
And now
not
we
sure-
can't even go up. Oh, they're getting exactly what they want. Anything,
Well,
even General
Here
Motors
the
is
other day,
preparing
them
to come
chumps-
back.
Here the other day, them chumps were getting ready to buy a $45 million jet with
Yeah.
taxpayer
Right.
money.
No, like
That's IGA,
And
wasn't
then
it?
on
Wasn't
top
it
of-
IGA?
And then on top of that, here we just found out yesterday the
They paid the
millions
bonus?
that plus the bonuses and stuff too. But yet they spent all those millions of dollars during the Rose Bowl.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
exactly. Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
It's their money, but I
No,
am
it's
against-
tax-
It's not.
Taxpayer money.
How do you know it's not
Hold-
taxpayer
How can
money?
you differentiate?
Which
What-
pot did they take it out of?
Exactly.
And if they had it to take out of that pot, maybe they didn't need our pot.
Well, I'm not sure that they got the money yet. So
They got the money.
They
No.
have the money. Our
They
own
got the
Citizens
first part
Bank
of it.
local.
They got the first
Our
part of the,
Citizens Bank
got it.
locally has
Money.
$300 million of the stimulus money.
you guys
Our
are
local
guessing
banks.
and speculation.
No,
You
this
have
is
no-
straight out of the other opinions that are out there, like in the newspaper.
Yeah, but those are opinions. They're not facts.
We all have opinions.
Well, those
Oh,
are
that
not facts.
Citigroup put out today exactly what they spent their stimulus
On
money
the
on.
Super Bowl. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. How that money is related to the stimulus package, I don't know. And nobody knows here on this table. We're guessing a lot. We're speculating a lot. And we're distorting what Barack Obama is saying about wages and bonuses on Wall Street.
Well,
And we
Henry,
don't
if you
need to-
drove up to my house in a Lexus inviting me to the Super Bowl and begging for $50, I wouldn't give it to you.
Well, I wouldn't give it either.
That's what
so-
I'm saying. That's
I
the
don't
whole
think-
point.
But I think that you're doing a lot of guessing here. And you're
No,
being-
all you
No,
gotta do is
he-
listen
it's
to
the marketing. They
the
have to pay
president
for
speak
advertising.
on TV every morning. He's telling Wall Street, we're holding your asses accountable.
And I agree with the president.
Okay,
But-
and that's the way it should be.
I
That's
agree
the way it
with
should have
that.
been
Okay.
before they gave up
I
that
need
that
that-
first that a dollar of that first half of that stimulus money.
But Henry, it is a fact that Citigroup provided seats and things at the Super Bowl to the tune of almost, I don't know how much money, ungodly amounts of money.
I think
Several
it was,
million.
yeah, 70, 30 million?
Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
Talking about it was advertising and that they would get
Right.
this back.
They would get it back in the
That's
number of
bullshit.
customers. Is that fair?
Well, I think on the bonuses, I agree with you. But on the other substance, like, for example, saving the automobile industry, I think that that's worthwhile. I think that Rush Limbaugh is saying about the same thing as you are. But I think that he's talking about the nationalization of banks and stuff like that in the automobile industry.
I don't
Right.
think Barack Obama is trying. I think he's trying desperately
Well,
not
that's what
to
you say,
nationalize
but we
those.
can't see the model
But we
yet.
can see $30 million of Citibank sponsorship.
Yeah, but you
with,
can't see the model that's evolving out of the White House. You can't say that.
Well, I certainly agree that we should save the automobile
of course
industry.
you
We
did.
should save that because then that would create the jobs that are desperately needed for this country and for
Harold,
the
I
United
didn't
States.
think that you would say that. That's what I've been trying to.
I do,
Well, I
but
don't think we're
I-
arguing now.
Yeah,
but let me
think-
let me
okay,
say
go
this.
ahead.
I agree with it, but I really don't like it because it's a private company. And taxpayers should not bail out private companies.
Now, you know the
if the
con-
sucker should close, it closes. Just like if you had a business, I had a business. If I can't make it, I got to close it, and I just done that. So that's the same thing with General Motors, Ford, Chrysler, all of them. If it's a private company,
You see, you guys are talking really big right now, but let those companies fail,
well, yeah, well, I can
and
understand that.
then you will see havoc.
Well, here
Well,
we
well,
gave
in
out.
Michigan,
You've never seen this before.
in Michigan, you probably
Everywhere.
feel. No, I don't think so.
They have
You know, let me
that.
let me say this. I was in North Carolina maybe about 4 or 5 months ago. I've witnessed. I mean, eyeball witnessed more development and infrastructure, building houses and buildings and companies in North Carolina than I've ever seen in Michigan.
But the thing, when you talk about
Same thing
jobs
as
and you talk
Florida.
about a healthy economy, you're talking about creating products and services that we sell overseas.
I agree.
Now, where are those businesses being created? Tell me, name one. Anywhere in the
They
United
are
States.
they
Name one.
overseas.
Yeah, they
How
are
does that-
being
how
created
does-
overseas.
Okay, how does that help us?
It doesn't.
Okay.
It does help.
Well,
us.
it does help us some way. It
we,
does.
We get
If-
cheap products.
If yeah, the
We
product
get
is
cheap products.
if the product is over there, then they have to send that product back over here, and then
Yeah,
we
I
can
got a
buy
whole
it.
bunch of
So-
that shit on my refrigerator.
And we don't want that stuff.
You know?
We
But
don't need
those are
that
not
stuff.
American companies necessarily creating that stuff. We're not.
Well, yeah.
selling.
Any-
We are competitive. We're in a global economy, okay? We can't compete in a global economy. We need to get competitive. We need to get kids out of colleges that have engineering degrees and other kinds of
Well, we need to
degrees
get
that
them
we
out of
can-
high school
we
so they can get into
so
college
that
and
we
get a
can
degree.
develop products that people want to buy overseas. We want the transfer of gold to come back to the country here, the United States.
It is. It is. It's coming back because those foreigners are buying up banks, real estate,
Right.
okay, and everything else they can get their hands on with American dollars.
Yeah, but that's not what I mean. I'm talking about the dollars that impact the working American. That's what they care about. People who are out there working. There are 150 million people that work every day. Those are the people that we need to impact with jobs. Those people are not getting the jobs that we've lost overseas, either due to competition or due to going out of business. But we need to have a resolve in this country where we create jobs that create the kind of products that we can sell overseas and bring the gold back to the country. I think that we're missing the point here.
Well, you know something,
Because
Henry.
we're-
I think one issue there, and on the General Motors thing is that if they would close down those two $50 million plants that they build in Sweden, one in Germany, and one in Africa, build those companies
And
over
the
here.
billion-dollar plant that they just
build them over
raised,
here,
built
and then
in
our
China.
people will go back to work.
No, that's protectionism. You can't do that. No, we can't do that.
Well, I don't
gotta
see why
start
not. Yeah, I don't.
protecting- We
I
gotta
don't
start
agree.
protecting Americans.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah, but you
At
don't
this-
want to go there.
at
You
this
don't want to
time-
go
at
there.
this time,
you
this has
don't
been a-
want to go there.
At this time, this has been a very spirited discussion. We want to thank our friends, Pages Bookstore at sbcglobal.net. Phone 1-810-767-7243 at 132 West 2nd Street, Flint, Michigan. We also want to thank Taylor's Floral Boutique, in my opinion, rbr@aol.com. The Flint Inquirer newspaper, Ron Parker, 599 at msn.com. But especially, we want to thank you, the viewers. This is Ronald Barry Robinson and friends saying until next time, stay focused.